My name is Alison Doyle. I'm the marketing manager here at the Research Park. The Iowa State Research Park is situated on the edge of the Iowa State campus on Highway 30 and very close to Interstate 35. We have about 120 acres of developed space here and are going to grow into some additional acreage here soon. Currently we have 8 buildings. All of those buildings are multi-tenant facilities. There are a couple of those buildings who just have one tenant in them now. And those buildings are all, with the exception of one, owned by the Research Park Corporation, and then the other is owned by a private developer. That accounts for right around 385,000 square feet of space. And there are, at the moment, about 55 tenants here, and they are employing today 800 people on site. The Research Park, by my estimation, has probably always needed public relations services. Historically speaking, we have never done a very good job of tooting our own horn and of going out into, in particular, the state and the surrounding area and telling people that we're here, first and foremost, and then talking about and getting the word out about all the awesome work that's happening here. Freestyle was really, as far as my perspective was concerned, a no-brainer for us to hire on as a partner. First and foremost because the folks at Freestyle had never lost touch with us, had been communicating with us all along. There were a couple different times that I felt like maybe I had a pocket of money that I could free up where we could do a small concentrated effort. That never came to fruition. I intrinsically knew from being in the industry that I was sort of a small potatoes client from a budget perspective, and I felt like it really spoke volumes about their organization that, frankly, David never gave up on us and stayed in touch, and actually not only stayed in touch, but very much stayed on top of what was happening here. And part of that was because he had clients that were already out here at the park, so I liked that synergy as well, and that I didn't have to necessarily start from square one to educate him about not only our tenant base, but also about what we had going on. We embarked on our first project together, and I would say within the first 2 to 3 days, I had contacts actively from the Des Moines Business Record and also from the Des Moines Register, and both of those contacts resulted in substantial stories. The Register story was a Sunday edition story as well, so we were very happy about that. And then the Business Record story was a feature story with an online gallery as well. So I would say that the results were immediate, and also they were in substantial and highly coveted publications in this area. And then we also were able to secure some press through some non-traditional means, through podcasts and videocasts, which wasn't someplace that I had contacts. And we have actually seen and heard some really, really nice feedback from that. I should also mention that one of our stories was even picked up by the CNBC Wire, so happy about that as well. I absolutely would recommend Freestyle to another business. I have worked with a number of different public relations agencies, and I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is, as the person who's sitting on a budget, you're always somewhat scared when you enter into a relationship like this, that every time you pick up the phone to call, or every time that person calls you, that the clock is ticking and your budget is going to go completely out the window. And frankly, I've never ever felt that way. So that to me was hugely important. I also love that this feels very much to me like a partnership. I don't feel like David and his group came in and basically took over and I didn't have to do anything anymore. And frankly, that sort of relationship, if that were the case in some vendor relationships, that's a wonderful thing to have happen. But in public relations, I believe if they don't become literally a part of your own organization in a way, then they're not going to get the story right and they're not going to get the message right. And so I felt like it was a really nice partnership. And the third thing is, when you are running a small ship such as this one, my marketing army of one that I have here, I'm throwing balls up in the air all the time, and I feel like a good portion of my work day is putting out fires and dealing with whatever the last second thing that comes up might be. And the follow-up is just absolutely wonderful that comes from Freestyle. I can see a release come into my inbox, get distracted, and know that if I don't get to it that day, that when we are on a deadline, that I'm going to have a call from David, he's going to stay after me. It's not like it's going to disappear into an abyss. So that part of the relationship has just been absolutely awesome. And then just ongoing work to secure proactive placements when we might be at a light news time, but we know that there's news coming is really wonderful as well.